Welcome to this new episode of How I Do It, where I share the lesson I learned the hard way, the preparation, the gear, and the mindset that make my adventure possible. In this episode, I want to talk about Packrafting Expedition. My first proper packrafting expedition was in Greenland. Me and Jenny did a trip that lasted about 2 weeks where we covered 150 kilometers of hiking and paddling on flat water. We crossed some fjord and paddled through some mountain lakes. Fast forward to this year, we just came back from a really amazing trip in northern Sweden where we linked two rivers, the Vistajoka and the Keitun. The trip lasted about 2 weeks and we covered 230 kilometers. Both of these trips were very similar in duration and length, but very different in style, mostly due to the difference between paddling in flat water or in rapids in river. For our Greenland trip, we chose to purchase the relied, a very minimalistic design and super lightweight. Despite being so light, it has a reinforced bottom, which offers a really good compromise between weight and reliability. It's rated for flat water and class 1. When we decided to start paddling in white water, we reached out to Kokopelli and they suggested to upgrade to the Nirvana model. The Nirvana comes in two options. You can have the spray skirt or the safe baler. So basically the spray skirt is just a cover that protects you from the water, but the safe bailing system is quite different. You have an inflatable bottom and some holes in the bottom surface, which drain the water out of the boat. We could not be more happy with this concept. It's very, very convenient to go easily in and out of the boat, especially if you want to go scout a rapid or if you need to rescue yourself from a swim. And I can imagine in the future bringing with us a dog or a bike, which makes it quite difficult to deal with the spray skirt. A big upgrade with this boat is the possibility to adjust the backrest, as well as using a 3-point leg strap that you can adjust to your size. So despite having such a big size difference between me and Jenny, we could adjust the boat to our own morphology and have a very snug fit. It's going to be very useful when you get thrown away in the rapids. Another game changer upgrade we got on the Nirvana was to choose the T-zip storage. So it's basically an airtight and waterproof zip that allows to put all your gear inside the boat. So not only allows to keep all your gear dry, it also increases the stability of the boat by lowering the center of gravity. What we did in Greenland with the relied was to strap all the load into the front of the boat, but this is obviously not working to paddle into rapids. This is, in our opinion, a must-have option if you desire to do multi-days adventure where you're gonna have a lot of equipment to bring with you. Speaking of storage, we also use the Delta Dry Bag, which is a waterproof bag that you strap in the front of your boat. It allows to have rapid access to a first aid kit, a repair kit for the boat, some snacks, your navigation system. I was even putting a gas stove and some real tourmat meal. It was super nice to have a warm lunch in the middle of a very long day of paddling without having to. That was a clear demonstration of how light is the relied. Let's compare the weight of those two packrafts. So here I have the relied with the seat, inflation bag, and the weight is 2 kilo 350 grams. And this is the Nirvana, including the bottom floor, the backrest, the leg strap, and this one weighs 5 kilo and 300 grams. And now let me show you the size when it's packed with an Nalgene bottle as a reference. Here we have the relied and the Nirvana. Another essential piece of gear is a dry suit. For the Greenland trip, we choose to not bring a dry suit for weight reason, but also budget. And I can tell you, after a few close calls with hypothermia, that was a mistake. Here the concept is pretty simple. You should dress for the swim. So regardless the outside temperature, you really need to take in consideration what's gonna happen if you get in the water. So not only the dry suit is gonna really improve the quality of your experience by keeping you warm, but it also has to be considered as a safety piece of gear. So for this reason, I strongly recommend you to budget the dry suit from the very beginning, at the same time than when you buy your packraft. Another piece of equipment that's been surprisingly useful is the feather pump. We managed to use it during our last trip on the single charge, and it really saved time and energy on the most boring part of the day when it's time to set up all your equipment and get ready for paddling. I can tell you, I'm not gonna leave this piece of equipment behind because the energy and time it saves is totally worth the wait. Now I want to move away from the equipment topic and talk about a crucial aspect of any expedition, which is risk management. If you've been following me for long enough, you probably already know that I'm pretty big on radical ownership. I wanted to share some practical example with you from the last trip we just did. With packrafting, you're often gonna see people using inflatable life vests. Those are great because they are light and doesn't take much room when you pack them, but they're not rated for rapid above class 2. So for this reason, we choose to use a proper PFD, obviously heavier and takes more room, but really gonna do the job the day you're gonna need it. Anyone with a little bit of experience with whitewater paddling knows that you're supposed to have a throw line ample. I know this is gonna be a little bit controversial for some, but we purposefully chose to not bring a throw line. Behind this choice was to decrease to the maximum the risk of ending up into a rescue situation where we could lose a paddle or a boat. So the idea was to really scout any rapid for which we have a doubt, and then if necessary, do a portage or find sneaky line on the side. You may agree or disagree with those choices, but it doesn't really matter because I'm not here to try to convince you. And this is what I meant by radical ownership. I strongly believe that to manage risk properly, you need to have a strong why behind every single of your decision, before and during the trip. And this is going to be completely context dependent, depending your personal level of experience, the level of experience of the group, and whatever situation that's going to be presented to you. And this is why I believe we cannot properly manage risk by simply applying a checklist or a recipe that you're going to learn in a book or in a YouTube video. The idea is to have a slow incremental exposure to risky situation in which you're going to increase your experience and basically build the toolbox that's gonna protect you from risky situation. So there is so much more that could be covered in this video about gear, such as how to choose a dry suit, what backpack we use, the tent, the meal planning. So if there is any of those topics you would like me to cover, please leave a comment, and I definitely consider covering that into a new video.